Well, good morning. Welcome to Monday morning's thought for today. This week we're going to be looking at the passage that I preached at the week before last. Obviously, we had the moderator's recorded message yesterday, and I'm not going to go over that one because we really looked at that in Mark's Gospel, and I don't want to do the same thing with the same passage really this week. So I want to go back to a passage we haven't covered in our thoughts for the day, which is really where I parked and left Mark chapter 7. And we're really picking it up in verse 24. If you remember, just before this, Jesus had this run-in, if you want, with the constant run-ins that he has with the Pharisees and the scribes. They weren't happy with the way that his disciples weren't washing their hands, etc. And Jesus had to explain to them basically that it's not so much the outward bits that we need to keep clean, it's more the inner, our heart, our mind, those thoughts, those expressions that come from within, because that's where the uncleanliness in our lives come from. That's where the sin comes from, because it's from our hearts that we think those thoughts and we say those words and then we manifest them to those around us. So Jesus has had this run-in and he explains it to the people, then he has to take some more time and explain it to his disciples. And really when you come to verse 24 of Mark 7, it's almost as if Jesus really needs to get away for a while, and he really needs to maybe spend some time with his disciples, because he realizes that they're maybe lagging behind theologically. They're just not grasping what he's saying. And he needs to get away completely from the hassle that he's getting, from the stress that he's getting from the Pharisees and the scribes. And so we read in verse 24, "And from there he arose and went to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and did not want anyone to know he was there, yet he could not be hidden." There's this sense that Jesus just needed to get away, and he escapes to a Gentile region. And when I say escapes, it's not as if he's been pursued for his life at this stage, but there's just this need to be alone. And we assume that he goes to this house with his disciples because, as I said, he needs to try and teach them and make sure that they fully understand just what it is he's saying and just what it is that his ministry is all about. Now, when you think about Jesus going to a Gentile region, this was the area that no Messiah would have gone to. The Messiah, we know, even from this reading from verse 24 on, Messiah came for the Jewish people. And yet here we find him in this very Gentile region. In fact, this region was known as a region that was very pagan. They had all sorts of pagan gods, etc. And Jesus, for some reason, decides that he's jumping into an area where the Pharisees won't come after him. He's going where the scribes can't find him. He's really going into an area where maybe he's not even known by the locals, because they wouldn't have known who this Jewish rabbi was. And so he's trying his best to get some time alone, perhaps by himself, but also to spend some time trying to teach his disciples. And he's found by this woman. Now, some people have said, well, maybe the only reason he went there was so that there was going to be this encounter between him and this woman. We know about the Samaritan woman at the well, and people say the only reason he went that direction was to have that one conversation with the woman at the well. We don't know, but it would be interesting, wouldn't it, if Jesus' only reason for going there was so that he could meet this woman and have this conversation, and in a sense show his disciples that even outside the Jewish faith there is the opportunity for those who are Gentiles to come to know and to trust him. But when you think about Jesus escaping, he didn't want anyone to know where he was. He didn't want people to find him. He was cutting himself off for people. And when I think of that, part of me gets slightly anxious simply because the thought of Jesus not wanting to be found by people. And yet those who really wanted to find him were able to find him. And that's what we have to remember. And I really want that just to be your thought for Monday morning, that Jesus, even though he may seem far away at times, very often the reason he seems far away is because we have distanced ourselves from him. We have pulled back from him. We are not in communion with him the way we should be. We're not spending our time reading our Bibles. We're not using our daily readings. We're not praying. We're not maybe getting involved in the things that would draw us closer to Jesus. And then we say, well, where's Jesus when I need him? I could really do with Jesus at the moment. And yet Jesus is not far from any one of us. He's there for us. And all we need to do is reach out and in prayer, and he's there. Trust him and know that he's there. And so I want to encourage you today not to think, oh, well, there's no point in me going after Jesus. I don't know where he is. I can't find him. Let somebody else do that. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Come to him. If you need to talk to the Lord, come and talk to him. But also, the time is short. We need to spend that time with the Lord. We need to talk to him. We need to trust him. We need to commit our lives to him and not just keep him as an added extra. But if I've nothing else to do, well, I can maybe pray. Or if I've nothing else to read, well, maybe I could pick up my Bible. Make those the first things you do every day. Make those the most important part of your day so that you come close to the Lord at the start of your day and then you follow him through the rest of your day. Jesus escaped those who wanted him for all the wrong reasons, but he was found by someone who needed him and wanted him for the right reasons. And even today, he can be found by those who truly seek after him. That's your thought for Monday morning. God willing, we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good Monday. God bless.